one of the biggest values is that she's experienced. But the value, I really, more so what she brought to us and my group, which is a group of physicians and providers, medical students, residents, and we all do hospital medicine. And I came across Jennifer's book. Actually, it was laying on my daughter's bookshelf at her college apartment. And I saw this and I was like, where did you get this book? She's like, well, I went to this leadership forum and they gave it out as a gift or something like that. I said, well, I know the author. And I said, can I take this home? I want to read it. She's like, yeah, sure. And we were just coming out of the COVID pandemic, starting to get back into quote unquote whatever normal is. And even before COVID and during COVID, there was a lot of talk and discussion and study on how physicians, nurses, healthcare providers were having an exorbitant amount of burnout. And physicians were leaving the profession in droves because they weren't getting satisfaction and weren't getting value or sort of the feedback that they went, and the reason why they went into medicine. And so that's why I really felt our group needed to hear that. And when I read her book, and even myself, even before COVID, I would have been medical director of our group, co-director for over 10 years. And I reluctantly kind of say I was going through a little bit of my own burnout, but I really hated to call it burnout. And I read Jennifer's book, and the first thing that drew me in is that she didn't call it burnout. Well, that was the first thing. Second thing is she didn't make it sound like this is something that happens to us, that we're just victims. We just have to take whatever it comes and we're passive about it. She said, no, there is something that you can do, and you can build resiliency, and you can prepare mentally for, the struggles of the day. And the third thing that very few people like to say out loud or recognize or admit, but she put it right out in the first chapter, like, life is hard. Life is hard. We have to understand that. And based on that sort of fact, we have to prepare ourselves for that. And you can do that. And so that's what I wanted to bring to my group. I wanted to say, look, we aren't victims here. This isn't something that just happens to us. We can prepare. We can build resiliency. We don't have to just let this happen to us. And how she presents that, I just really felt would click. I hope would click with my group. So happy with how my group received her message. She really wanted to try and have it be a conversation. And after a little bit of a slow start, they really got into conversing with her, asking questions, answering her questions, and really just having a discussion back and forth. And I think her keynote speech couldn't have gone any better. She also did a little workshop for us, and everybody who did the workshop was in with her keynote speech. Afterwards, they came up to me and said, "Shoot, that was excellent. Thank you so much for bringing her in." We actually had our event was sponsored by some pharmaceutical companies, and one of their reps came up to me and said, "Oh, I need to get her information. I want her to come and talk to my team." And so it was very well received. They really embraced her message and really embraced how she delivers it. So it really was great. I would hope that this would be something if the opportunity came up for me to say, "Hey, look, I have somebody who can really help us in this situation, really has a great message." Actually, I'm even starting with my new position. I'm now an assistant professor in the med school. So I think this would be great for medical students and residents to hear. It's just I kind of have to get my footing first and figure out my way first. But I hope this is something that I can bring her message. I've referred her book to several of my colleagues. I said, hey, this is a great book to read, and just kind of keep her message. This is the one of the first leadership books that I read that I felt really laid out a plan of action for me that I could really take and do something with. I really felt like I could put it into actions. And maybe that's just how she worded it and how she laid it out. It's not that I hadn't heard some of that stuff before, but I think how she delivered it really struck me. And I said, you know what? This is definitely going to help and I can act on this. And so that's why I kind of really want to do this testimonial and kind of continue to share it with my colleagues. Because this burnout thing or need for resilience, that's not going away. Life is hard and will always be hard. And so we always will need to have those qualities that she kind of described as far as core beliefs, being prepared, knowing what you stand for, those sorts of things. I think it's all great, very good stuff for everybody to kind of sit down and kind of intentionally think about. Jennifer, first and foremost, is very professional and experienced and knowledgeable. But at the same time, she's very engaging and can really kind of knows her audience and knows how to connect with them. And in all honesty, I was a little worried, will she be able to connect with doctors in the healthcare field? Because she doesn't have a whole lot of experience in her work or her consulting with healthcare. But I was like, she'll figure it out. She'll know and I mean, I was just amazed at how she was able to really connect to medicine. And then she showed us how she is resilient, how she actually puts her, she walks the walk, so to speak. And she really gave, at the end, she had a very personal experience with her life and how she values what we do and says, look, I experienced what you guys do. And I and all your other patients need you to be at your best. And so that's why I want to come to you and try and give you some tools so you can be at your best all the time. And I couldn't believe it because I didn't know, I kind of knew what she was going to be saying, sort of outline and that sort of thing. But then when she shared that experience kind of at the end, I was just really blown away. And I think that really hit home and really, solidified her message with everyone there and say, hey, you know what? She knows what we do and she knows how hard it is. And, she's really here to help us. And so, can be that's kind of the spectrum, experienced, professional, knowledgeable, articulate, but then knows how to be personable, connect, and vulnerable. And I think that's really what makes her a dynamic and outstanding writer, speaker, coach.
I prided myself on taking some of these complex academic concepts and making them real for corporations.